Moo and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pink Tron. I am Brent Robinson, and with me today is Steph Jen. Steph, what are you drinking?
I have a non-alcoholic Thrive Play beer. It's a corporation of the local university. I've also that brought it on the podcast a couple of months ago. The recovery alcohol-free beer is as a variant of it with alcohol-free and lots of vitamins apparently. So it's a healthy beer.
What's the brand name again?
Thrive.
Try. All right.
Threve. Thrive.
Thrive. Thrive. There we go. All right. We also have Craig Martin. Craig, what are you drinking?
Hello, I am drinking a Constable Winchester IPA from Foghorn Brewing, and that's almost done because I started pre-drinking. And so I've got the Huge on Hops from Trailway Brewing to finish off here.
Cool. Cool. And we also have with us today John Keenan. John, what are you drinking?
I have got, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Tepache?
Oh
Tepache?
yeah, Tapache. Yeah,
Tepache, yeah. It's Mexican soda, pineapple spice. It's nice.
Sounds tasty.
it
And we
is
also
delicious.
have,
Yeah.
let's start there. Let's go. We'll go up to Sean Fogenberg. Sean, what are you drinking?
Uh, I've got a non-alcoholic thing as well, but a Stone Hazy IPA.
Sounds tasty. And we also have Steve Pritchard in a
So I've
sweatshirt that
got
shall not be named. Steve, what are you drinking?
I've got the Carlos. Sorry, I've got the Beer 52 pack continues. I've got a Carlos Worldwide New Zealand Pilsner, which was brewed in Omnipollo in the European Union. Don't ask me where Omnipollo is. I've also got a baby Jack who is currently sleeping off some boob juice. So may or may not crash the podcast later on.
We should all be so lucky. Sorry, your New Zealand beer is brewed in the EU.
Oh, it's very common in the EU. So we have a lot in the UK. We drink quite a lot of Australian beers that'll all be brewed in the UK, and I think even things like that purport to be Belgian. So Stella Artois, I think, is
Yeah, it
brewed
was a
as well. So um,
So what's like when they is it just like the color of the label or is it
I
because
think
they
it's
got
licensing. So you brew under license.
the
It's
recipe
not
or
like
what's the
wine where you have the like controlled regions. So.
interesting? Obviously, it's probably the same in Canada. I just don't pay that close attention, frankly. Um,
So, for
and
example, Guinness, which we'd only have to import from Ireland, I think is mostly brewed in Manchester in the UK. The Guinness that we drink here in the UK.
fair enough. There you go. I have an Olay Paloma cocktail, and it's like an actual, like a not a DL. It's a 5.2% tequila Olay Paloma. It's quite nice. This is what I had on New Year's Eve on my birthday.
Oh,
All right. And speaking of things that just keep coming round and round and round and round again, this week's HWR is 10 laps of downtown Dolphin. Uh, what do we want to say about doing 10 laps of downtown Dolphin? So 20K. Their downtown Dolphin is the like with the cobble up direction.
Yeah.
yep.
So,
Yes.
so there's a little squeeze for it's maybe lying, it's less than 300 meters to get from the bottom to the top
Well,
of that push.
I think HWR is going to make it a bit different for lower categories. So, lower categories, or sorry, category-based racing, I'd say, yeah, the squeeze is probably that bit. I think you're going to find the A's and the B's, the strong B's are the guys who will push through to the lap banner. So that sort of hilly bit before the hairpin as well. If you can keep the heat on there over those lumps, you can often kind of drop people who've been put in the hurt locker up that little sprint up to the con banner. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see how it races differently.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do think if you can stick out a wheel that's in the group up to the top and then the downhill, if you can stay in the group, like catch into the group on the downhill, usually you can be okay. But yeah, if you're dangling till you hit the rollers, you're going to be in trouble because they will press through there for sure.
just wait
Um,
till they lap you and then you'll be fine.
Well, in this race, that's a legit tactic.
It
Like,
They're
really
going to be
is.
doing that for sure. Yeah.
Downtown Dolphins a 2K lap, and I guarantee you that if you are not in the front group, I suspect even the second group might get lapped by the front group, frankly. So like if you're out of the front group, sitting in and waiting till that front group comes and then hammering as hard
Just
as you
giving
can
it
to
as
hold some wheels in
everything
the
you
front group
can.
to get separation from the rest of the group with you is a legit tactic.
Yep.
Um,
Especially with that climb where it is, I think because it's essentially an interval session. What the laps? They're about 3 minute laps. I'm trying to remember now. Like it's a 30
I
second
think I've
interval
done it
every
in
2 to 3
240 or
minutes.
something.
Like there could be there will certainly be a point, and I will probably end up doing this tomorrow, where I'll think I don't want to do this interval this time. So I'm going to ease off because I can see the group's 10, 15 seconds behind me, and I'm going to sit in the group and do a bit of tempo because that will bring me back up to where I was, and I can maybe cheat my way out of an interval.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's all part of the strategy HWR in this course.
Yeah,
Bike.
definitely under. It's definitely under 3 minutes because they did. Race one was 26 minutes for the front group, so that's under 3 minutes a lap.
230 some odd.
Yeah,
Yep. And I mean, you're listen, it's HWR still, so you're still notwithstanding there's no 10 race categorization here. All the same. We
yeah,
saw it a little bit, I think, in the um other Winterval races. All the same names are showing up and they are going hard for it still.
yeah,
Like I know Decadash was tough. Um yeah, so bike choice, I think it's Falero, fastest, slipperiest thing you
yeah,
got, whatever level you're at. Uh,
yep.
yeah, I don't. Anybody got anything else to say about HWR? That's all the races. So in the earlier interval, there was a break between the Friday races were the Decadash route, and then the um, Saturday Sunday races were the um,
Electric loop or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, it
or
was like
Neo
20 laps of
15 lap
electric loop or something like that.
Neo Geo Crit was it?
You
Neo
oh,
Geo
that's what
Crit,
it
right?
was. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a 60K race. This is all
Yeah,
Did
weekend. It's
anybody
the
do
same race.
the long weekend race last week?
I did not.
No.
no, but the numbers were significantly lower as expected than the Friday ones. But yeah,
Anyone else
yeah,
got anything else to say about
might
HWR?
might might give this a go this weekend. Wanna run some miles. Come back from illness a couple of weeks ago, so maybe gonna see where I'm at race wise. How the legs are feeling in a proper race. I think should be a fun one.
Good, good. All right, let's just quickly, we'll go through what else is happening on herd races. Remember, if you're listening to this, that aside from a few times, well, I guess all of HBR will still be public, but
Yeah,
Bullseye, Climbers, Gambit, Stampede, Mountain Goats, basically, there are a few public times, but basically assume it's in the club. So if you're listening to this and you're not a member of the herd club, number one, I'm shocked. But number two, go join the herd Zwift club.
Racing.
Herd racing. Sorry, not the herd racing club. And
So
then you'll
that
be able
is
to see.
facebook.com/groups/Z Herd Racing.
But also
Yeah,
in the
companion app.
like Zwift companion app group.
yeah. You need
Yes.
to join like the Zwift herd racing club, and then you'll be able to see all the events. You just go to the easiest way. I think this is the one you posted the video of, right? You go to the club, and then you go to events, and then it shows all the herd racing events. That's the easiest way to do it. And even if you're listening to this and you're not like, if you're in hydro or OTR or whatever, and you just like to race herd events and you just want to see them, join the herd club. You can join as many clubs as you want. It's not a big deal. They just show up in your club list, and you'll be able to see them. So,
And it is
I
actually
uh,
probably the easiest way to just find races that are actually already filtered. Uh,
Mhm.
Yeah,
like
I hadn't realized this, and I think like for example, I'm going to see if Swift Insider has a club for their tiny races because
They
they're
do.
just a bit fiddly to find, and actually it's super easy in that clubs for you just to scroll through and find the races. Like, and that's going to be
Yeah.
my. I've always been filtering events and scrolling, and it's a bit of a pain, especially if kind of this time I'm thinking like, oh, I might do the 12 o'clock ride tomorrow, which is in what 15 hours time. Like that's quite a bit of scrolling and faffing around that you have to do to get to that herd event, and it'll be kind of 3 clicks, hopefully, in the clubs page to get there. So
Yeah.
super easy.
Yeah, I'm in chasing from doing chasing yellow, and there's just a few other chasing races that I do, so
Yeah.
it's good. All right, HBR this week
Yeah. Nathan,
is on RGV.
yeah, RGV, still the same bands, says fastest time should be upper 30 upper to mid to upper 30 minutes for with a low watts, these being in the 50 minutes region. So yeah, I think we all know RGV, a lot of flat, aqueduct in the middle, and intestines at the end. Fastest thing you got, I
Good.
think.
Yeah, and take your fastest, slipperiest bike, whatever you got. If you're a beginner, probably like Canyon Arrow 2021 or 2024, good bets.
Yeah.
Nuke proof for nuclear uranium. Is that what
Nuclear uranium.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's always a good bet.
And yeah, Zip 808s, I think, are the
Mm.
those are really good. And if you don't, probably the DT Swiss 62s.
Yeah, I
both.
hadn't really used Zwifter bike
both.
until the last month, and I was actually impressed with it. It's pretty handy. You can adjust the slider for your own like weight and stuff, so you can get a little more personalized recommendation potentially.
Yeah.
And your FTP, and there are a few times where it changes the bike rec if you're kind of like a bigger, slower person or a smaller, faster person.
I wonder if
Not
it's
that you
going to.
can't be big and fast. I'm just saying those two things really tend to shift the curve. on what's faster?
I wonder
All
how
right.
well they'll keep up once we can start modding our bikes with drops for faster.
Yeah,
or
I'll be very
lighter.
curious how that works out too.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see.
I can't wait. I got like 10 million drops sitting there waiting. Like any day you want to drop that,
Yeah.
I'll be ready.
Ready to go.
My drops are now only going up because I think I have now everything I've bought the KDX quite a while ago. So I've and a Pinarello. Those are the last two bikes that I bought, and now just collecting drops. I think I'm nearing 2 million at this point. So
Yeah, I think everyone who Zwifts a lot ends up with a bucket load of drops. You just nothing you can do for it. All right, Climbers Gambit stuff.
yeah, we will. Well, Hurt Omnium is in 2 weeks, so we will do a couple of one-off weekends also with the to be decided plan. So for this weekend and next weekend brought some of the more special events. This week we will do cobbled climbs with combined time of Libby Hill and 23rd Street. So
Very steep.
pretty short
I
route
recall.
and pretty short. Could be used as a warm up if you want it, because the Libby Hill is depending on how you're at 1 to 3 minutes effort, and yeah, and 31st Street can be done
20
under a
seconds.
minute. Yeah, 20 seconds or yeah.
Yeah, if you're
Sorry,
doing
it's the
Libby,
forward direction for both.
Yeah, forward. It's the cobbled for the sections
Okay.
for both. Yeah.
if you're doing Libby Hill, you might as well do the next one. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of now, this is always when I can't remember where we've ever settled on bike choice on this. So Libby is probably Tron, like it's steep at the
Tron.
end, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that's not that steep. So I think it
With the SH
like-
Tron or now the Pinarello with some combo wheels, and
Yeah.
then probably TT bike for the faster, definitely TT bike for the faster people for 23rd Street, because you have that huge downhill with lots of speed going into it.
okay, that's what we settled on is TT bike. We think you pedal up, sprint a little bit, get speed up on that big downhill, and then smash through and try and carry it as far up that hill
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
can.
You're just going so fast.
Yeah,
Yep. And I do think like
and
the pacing on that one is like as hard as you can from the bottom to carry that pace as far up the hill as you can, even if you might burn out to the top. Like you just go, 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 go.
I'd say, in fact, you go hard before the start of the segment.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's as much about your entry speed as it is about anything else.
yeah, because you have that steeper downhill, but then you take the not before the segment, but the right corner. That it flattens out a bit, so definitely keep the power and the speed up there before you take another right corner for when you hit the segment itself. And just for next week, we'll reveal the week later, but we'll be doing fastest, slowest variant for next weekend.
Great.
Cool. All right. Mountain Goats is Snowman, 44 kilometers. Did we look up where that finishes?
It does not finish at the top. I think it comes back into downtown, maybe?
That sounds right. It definitely starts at downtown, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back downtown. Good. Okay, so I think it looks like it's just the full route, so up the grade.
Yeah, I think he's been doing that for quite a while. I think he said he prefers it now doing the full routes instead of finishing in some climb.
So yeah, so it's up the Epic at the reverse side on the right-hand side of Epic. It's Epic forward.
Yeah, that's Epic forward.
Yeah, so it's up the Epic.
Well, Mayan and
No,
Itza, right?
it's up the Mayan way.
Yeah, Mayan, Itza.
But I think it goes up the Epic forward start side and then across the
Yes.
Yeah.
the cutoff there across to the jungle, down the jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Epic
then up-
bypass.
And
Yeah,
then up mine and Itza, and then up the top half of the grade, and then back down,
Epic forward.
Epic
You're right.
forward,
Yeah.
and then does it go across and
Again.
cut out again?
Goes
Goes
to
across,
bypass.
Epic
across
reverse?
again.
and then through the S is still downtown for the finish, I think.
Finish downtown. It's a scratch
So-
race.
So cool. That is an interesting race course.
Yes.
If it'd probably be better with good numbers, but
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I could see this
Something-
being a ZRL week
Mhm.
6, like in the old days type route.
Just clarification, this doesn't finish through the S's. It does another figure 8. You go back over through Ocean Boulevard, up out of the tunnel, and finish downtown. The other
Oh,
way.
yeah, take
Oh,
that
okay.
right.
Past the pens.
That's Sequoia, whatever the island is. Yeah.
Sequoia Circle. Yeah.
Sequoia Circle. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you maybe start with the S's from downtown area. Yeah.
You do, yeah.
Good. All right. Then we move on to Stampede is going to be 1 lap of hilly. Pretty straightforward. I think it's still TT bike though. Lots of downhill to flat after you do the climb. So yeah, it's about 8.9, no, 9 some odd kilometers, I think.
Yeah.
Start at downtown, finish at downtown, and be warmed up because you are straight into the hilly
Yeah.
off the downtown. And you will want to go hard on the climb. That will be definitely a time determinant who's fast off the top of hilly.
Would you say with that hilly KOM go fastest TT back like a KDEX or
KDEX
just
and a disc probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
KDEX with a disc. I like to take the felt with the disc. If you take the Scott Plaza with the disc, it's probably a wash from the arrow to the Cadex to the weight on the Scott and the felt, but
This one, I mean, I have Zwifter bike open right now, and obviously it's not going to be perfect, but it actually has the KDEX at least for me, a couple seconds faster than most of the other bikes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only thing about that that doesn't account for is if you like if you vary your effort, right? Like it doesn't
You
account for
can't.
if you're on a lighter bike and you smash the
You
climb, you
can.
probably
You
make up
can
those two
have it.
seconds.
You can adjust the pacing.
But it's
Oh,
gotta be
you
Although I
can.
pacing
think,
across the route.
Is that the
yeah,
third tab over? I haven't used that before.
Yeah. So under rider, you can adjust for what like how much harder you're going on the steeper bits.
Oh,
oh, here
really? Oh,
we
I
go.
haven't tried
Let's
that
let's
feature
figure
yet.
out what the math
Oh,
says. I actually
Hmm.
think if you did that, the heavier bike would come out further ahead.
That
Right.
is accurate.
Yeah.
oh, there you go. All right, I've got it backwards. There you go. All right, so take the big Cadex and lug that thing up the hill.
Yeah.
It's a rocket ship, a big chunky rocket ship. All right, bullseye, Craig. Is it
Um,
on or is it off?
so I mean, I'm gonna set it to classique. Honestly, we've got one public slot. The private slots just I think we're gonna delete them, club the club only slots because it, we're not even at 10% of the 20 we'd need. We don't have two riders.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's not.
We'll be working more on that in the new year because there's some Stampede. We'll lead up to.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say we may re-roll that single remaining slot, or we might do something else. So yeah.
Good deal. All right. So Zwift news has been very, very quiet over the break. So instead of Zwift news, we're gonna talk about what our favorite thing that Zwift changed or implemented or whatever they did over 2024 and why we like it and why it was good to us. Um, let's do we have volunteers? Someone got one really good one they want to start with that they don't want to
Yeah,
us to
I'll
steal?
kick off. I think
Yeah, go
Steph,
Steve.
when we were chatting about this earlier, Steph mentioned the number of new roads, but I'm just going to come back to Zwift Racing Score. I think
Yeah.
though we've spoken a lot about Zwift Racing Score, so what I'm going to talk about, I've talked about before. It's the number of iterations we've seen of Zwift Racing Score. I think I've got from the last year, I've got a lot of confidence that Zwift really wants this to work and it wants it to work well. So kind of we saw sort of half come out, then it was withdrawn and went back, and now we've seen iteration, iteration, iteration. And I think that just shows a commitment to get an in-game scoring system working well that matches well. My lived experience of racing under Zwift Racing Score has been pretty good. I think the groups seem fairly well matched. I think we all know kind of post race there is some weirdness still happening with how Zwift Racing Score changes, but in race kind of I felt in a group with a bunch of fairly evenly matched people who can put the hurt on each other. And if you're feeling good that day, you can win. And if you're not feeling great that day, you might lose. But kind of that's what you want, and kind of a nice competitive group to race against. So kind of I thought Zwift Racing Score this year was really good. Sorry, last year was really good. I'm optimistic for this year to see where it goes as well. I think in-game point scoring might also be a thing this year, so that could be cool.
Yeah, and I think
Craig's very happy at that.
and yeah, now with the Z Racing there this month, they have implemented those changing, alternating Zwift ZRS bands that Sean mentioned a couple of episodes back, and also the advanced races. And I think was looking at right with Gerben in one of his videos, and one of the commenters said that for one of the advanced races, so the 650 or 700 plus, there were like 78 people signed up for one of those slots. So if that's the case, then it's working. Having those big numbers in that top category by reducing the number of events per day, creating that critical mass that you want for those people as well. So it's looking at going in a good direction. So yeah.
just I'll sidebar to just say I did one of those elite races on Tevis Fugit, and I did make it all the way back to the arch before I got dropped. So like Tevis Fugit like starts at the pens, goes under the arch all the way out to the roundabout, and then back through the roundabout, back through the arch, and then around the roundabout again, and finishes in the kind of the forward direction through the sprint.
Yeah.
And I made it all the way back to the arch before the A high AA pluses decided to really turn up the heat and then like go. But I was like averaging 318, I think 320 watts to hold the group for that first 17 kilometers. So, and like I wasn't pulling, like I was holding on, and there was a few surges where it was like, oh my God, how are they doing this right now? So, yeah, it was good. It was about a 65, 66 person race. So,
Oh,
What
that's
was
nice.
the and what was the average speed until what did it feel like the average speed was when you were just in
we
that
did it
group?
in 24 some odds. So I think our speed was about 46,
Yeah,
somewhere in that range, 46, 47
Yeah.
kph. Yeah.
good speed.
But well, it's one of the funny things, right, about the elite races that I think, I did like when we did the London HWR, I made it to like the last sprint kind of in the group too. And I think the trick is like those higher speeds, the draft is way more effective and way longer. And so I can like hang with the fast races because I'm a bit of a bigger, higher watt guy. So I can like hang in those races longer because they're going faster and the draft is way more effective for me to just hang at the back forever on. So anyway,
I think
all
I'll
right, who else?
go.
Craig, what do you got? Or Sean, you want to go? Yeah, go, Sean.
Yeah, I think the thing that I maybe want to highlight, obviously, maybe my favorite thing really is the ZRS implementation. I think that's probably for a lot of us, but uh, one of the event things that they implemented this year that I really enjoyed was the Zwift games, um, and even including a couple of new courses specifically for those races, and I think that it looks like they broke records with participation in that series in particular, and I got some really great races in those set some really strong PRs and and those PRs were not like and then I'm blowing away my race. It was like strong competition at the front of those races. So that was, yeah, I think that having those like that kind of racing festival feel where it's, this is a non-ZRL Zwift specific racing event or set of events with a GC was a nice event implementation, I think.
And that was the one where
I
they
don't know that I
normalized
finished.
bike performance, right? So you could race on a cruiser or whatever goofy bike you wanted.
I think so. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I think that was the one they equalized bikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
think
probably
know.
one of the biggest group events or group races I think I've seen, bigger than ZRL. I mean, not combined, obviously, but
I think it probably had more riders. I don't think there's 80. It says on this Zwift Insider article they had over 80,000 who did Zwift games, and
yeah.
With
I don't think that they're all
215,000 races finished.
pulls 80,000 people. Yeah.
No, I meant each race was like bigger. Like
Yeah,
ZRL,
for
they
sure.
chunked it
Yeah.
up into like less than
Yeah,
100-ish, right? Just to keep it manageable. But I think some of those were easily 200 or 300 people on screen.
absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
far
And
more than that, I think.
And some were bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think like not to pull these two last threads together, but when you get events like Zwift Games and you're getting those types of numbers, I think you're going to see those ZRS spans get narrower, right? Because if you're getting 400 racers, you can easily do like a 10 a.m. race with like 5 bands that go from 500 up, and then a 10-15 race that goes with 5 bands from 500 down. chop those up even more to get even tighter racing for people. Like, I think that's ZRS just enables so much stuff on them. All right, what do you got, John?
I'll go with routes. I think was it last year the first time they basically said, "Oh, here, build your own route," and like ZRL had competitions where the last race of each of the series, you got to basically everybody is racing on a route that they had never ridden at all before, much less raced before. So I thought that was fun to see. And then everybody got to participate and vote for their favorite. And everybody's coming up with silly names, so that was fun.
And I mean, this is the year that has had the most new routes added.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of the climb portals. Those are always good.
Yeah, also that.
I've not tried the climb portals yet, but the routes are definitely exciting. Like the Scotland routes are really good. I've done some really good races as well on those Scotland routes, which is the top half of the grade. Obviously, that's a new road, but some new routes in there as well. That still hasn't. I'm trying to get my negatives in the right. I've broken my heart every time I've raced up the top half of the grade. Like, there's just no race that I've done that includes that has not broken my heart at all. I just it feels like you join it halfway and it should take half the time for some reason, but it's steep. It hurts. It's really tough. I think Snowman is. I'd love to do a good ride on Snowman. I've done that a few times now for I think it was Chasing Yellow, and then just did it for fun around them. And yeah, you get there quite tired and do the top half of the grade, and it's hard. And what was that? I think in Chasing Yellow they had a route where you went up that and then you come back and go up Epic, don't you? And again, it's just really hard.
That's
But
like elevation evaluation or something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and especially that's now that's it's not power to the portal, but power to the tower. That the three-way up the different grade and the two epic. So that's another brutal one.
I mean, power to the portal is neat too, because you get to race up the portal, which is very new.
That is new. Yep.
How about you, Brent?
I'm gonna go with, you know what? I know it's gonna sound maybe a bit cheesy, but I really liked the 10-year graphics. Like, I like the anniversary graphics, and I just like, I hope they keep doing it. But even like the Zwift Big Spin Graphics, I like all the things they did where they changed up the visuals of the world.
Yeah.
Because like at the end of the day, there's not that many kilometers of roads in Zwift, and those of us who ride 3, 4, 5 days a week in Zwift, like, we see a lot of the same roads. And so, like, just bring seasonal changes, whatever you can do from a technical perspective, that you can just like do some tweaks to stuff, that it's still like I get you can't make a whole new world, but like if you could make France like summer France or something, or spring France with more flowers on it, or fall France and everything turns yellow and orange. I don't um something like that, that just tweaks the visuals a little to make them a little more interesting when you're riding them all the time. I'm 100% down with. Like, I love the Christmas trees when they put the Christmas trees up in Watopia. Yeah, so all of the stuff they tried this year, I was really happy that the look of the world changed more often, and it changed for different events and stuff. So
yeah, what it was nice to see indeed with Stenya's anniversary of that certain sections with the color scheme on the roads to make it more vibrant. Yeah, it's
and the cutscene thing was also pretty fun.
Yeah,
for
that was a
riding
new
into
one, right?
Jarvis. And
first time you rode into Jarvis, yeah.
my bet for Brent was going to be the big spin and just like riding and like getting another chance to get that silly dumb bike every time.
Yeah.
I did get it.
I
And I have the beret, and I wear it every time I ride in France.
Yeah, it
All right, how
never
about you,
rains in
Steph?
France. Never rains in France.
No, always in London though.
Always in London.
Yeah.
What do you got,
So I think
Steph?
we skipped me. So
Oh,
I
or Craig.
I mean my favorite thing was already taken, but I do have one that I was gonna say to be funny first, and it's kind of tongue in cheek, but it's real. The "right on" noise is gone.
Is it?
I've had the sound muted on mine for so long, I didn't even know.
I had no
No
idea.
way. Yeah, I'm the same as Brent. I like that sound's been muted like probably about 5 hours into being on Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, my sound in Zwift lasted like as fast as I could. Like it's like chirp, chirp, chirp. Nope, kill, 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 kill. I might have had like 10 seconds of rat, and then nope, that's gone too. Although I do use my Z button on my new Zwift plays to do my right on bomb. So, you know. Did you do one,
I
Steph?
haven't, yeah, I haven't noticed the sounds that much, but usually with a JavaScale, every time you cross that banjo cabin, have that sound coming up.
I've got
Uh,
visions of Brent losing his ride last weekend as he steered in and out of the draft repeatedly, just enjoying his Swift plays too much. But
Yeah.
I do.
I was in a ride. I think it was just a group ride or something. I legit, someone asked like, "Oh, what did we get for Christmas?" I'm like, "I got new Zwift plays." I rode to the front and just like swerved around out in front of the group.
I want to highlight three other things that I think were really made. I mean, they're big, big things that kind of went. I mean, unnoticed in here, but so the HUD update.
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
really
it's great.
really great, like more modern looking, adds a lot of value, I think, to your rides. The garage auto sorting and where that might be heading, I think,
Yeah,
is really exciting.
I mean,
And
really,
then
just where it is now is improvement for sure.
yeah,
yeah.
so just like, oh
Having
well,
those,
you used this recently, so maybe you'll want to use it again.
Yeah.
Um, and then the this one, like, I'm not even sure I realized this, but so they implemented the new way of doing your FTP detection because of the grade.
Yeah.
Um, but it's actually implemented game wide. So the same, like if you do a really great 8 minute effort, it implements that same lookup table. It's not like the rest of the game isn't just whatever your best 20 minute, like 95% of your best 20 minutes, which is what it used to be. And I think that is a nice little addition that, like, if you're in a race and you do a really great 12-minute effort, it's going to give you some estimate of what your new FTP would look like.
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. I mean, we've talked a lot about how I think racing, you can race well under your true FTP score, if that makes sense. So if you just did racing and you raced really cleverly and you've got a decent sprint, it's quite unlikely you'll hit your true FTP, isn't it? Because if you can survive those couple of minutes at the start, then it sort of chills out a bit, and you're good at staying in the group, and you can do little punchy 10-second efforts to stay in a group, kind of. And unless you do a really climby course, you're not going to do that 20-minute all-out effort. Even somewhere like Yorkshire, I think it's really hard to do a 20-minute all-out effort on that sort of course. So it's unless it's kind of Innsbruck or Epic or one of those climbs, you're just not getting there. So yeah, it's really cool for the game to be updating that. I think everyone likes that kind of wow, you've updated your FTP, new FTP. Everyone likes seeing that, like that feeling of progress. So that's
Oh,
super
I hate that.
cool.
Makes every workout harder. I have to keep putting the percentage down more.
yeah. I haven't been, but yeah, the most things are set. zRes, the new route, and indeed the HUDs or the UI upgrades. I think now that they've also fully implemented the when you choose a route, you have the route profile under your HUD map. It's for rides or races. It's very useful for seeing where you are and what's coming up. I think the when you're on a climb, that climbing profile for the next 800 meters is great. It's both. It can be demoralizing. Oh, you're feeling bad, and you see the red flashing things, it's gonna hurt. But sometimes you see, there's something. It can be also helpful that you see, I've been doing a lot of red. Oh, there's a yellow and a blue section, so I know I can recover a bit in a while. So yeah, I think there's some great improvements. Be done.
It does. I will say that I could get behind a movement to disable that in races because I
Yeah, it
do.
Yeah.
feels like all the races, when everybody's going to go, you can see the point, and in fact, that's when everybody goes, and you're like, oh, okay, I
Yeah, it
guess I'll
does
Yeah,
take
go.
but you
away a
know
bit of
what?
the
Yeah,
scouting.
Everybody knows like people know the courses anyway.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
true.
It really, like, I get what you're saying, Brent. It takes away from the people that know the advantage of the people that know the course.
mm,
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
I'll just say like I really changed how I rode Shisa this past weekend. I was riding like
really.
McCurry 40 and stuff like that, and I had not appreciated where the pinches were on Shisa in both
Okay.
directions. Like they're a little different, and there's definitely like a lot of flatter bits towards the top. And I always
Yeah.
thought that it was kind of like flatter at the bottom, but it's definitely like the middle of the one Shisa from like the counterclockwise direction, I'd call it. Like it's kind of early, you hit the hardest bit, and then it's a little flatter from there. Whereas this other side, it's like quite a bit later that you hit the harder bits in Shisa. And so you can really like the where you would put out that power changes depending on seeing that thing. And I mean, listen, if I paid closer attention, I obviously would have figured that out. But like seeing it like
Yeah,
right in front of you, like
yeah,
go from yellow to red, and then seeing like, oh, the rest of this is all blue and yellow to the top, is like, oh, okay, let's go now. So anyway, I mean, I can. I mean, both what you're talking about, Craig, is that those who have the better scout get a bit of an advantage, and like seeing the road and stuff where people are making moves and stuff is harder when
Yeah.
that thing is on top of you.
Yeah.
So there's another reason for it.
Um, I've got one more thing I want to mention as far as the things Zwift did this year that were really good. And that's one that I think would have come up if we had somebody different, but we haven't had any women on the Tron for a little bit here, and that's the block user option that they introduced in the
Oh,
summer.
did they?
They did, yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah, that's yeah, we've had that discussion with uh, with Becca and with a few of the other women that have been on the Tron before,
and does it
where
block
yeah, it's a very
chat or does
different.
it block them right out of your game?
So it blocks anything personal. So they
Okay.
can't see your
Okay.
profile if they request to follow, it's essentially ignored. They can't see you in Zwifting now. They can't see you. They don't get a notification. They can't send you a private message. But you
right.
do. So the problems are they can still see you publicly in game, and you still see their public messages. But I mean,
Oh,
I mean, yeah, sure.
then you got to turn off chat. I mean, I'll be honest. I had my chat turned off for so long. I was like, I didn't notice, and then I was like in some
Yeah.
event, and somebody's like, "I'm messaging you. Why aren't you responding?" I'm like, "Oh, apparently I had my chat turned off. Didn't even know." And it
Yeah.
almost went back off this weekend doing all those Rafa 500 rides.
Oh, so man, there's some really obnoxious people out there.
Like most of it's pretty innocuous, but like,
It is.
why do
Yeah,
you think
most
the
of it
rest of us
is,
want
but
to
some
see
of
this?
there's people that are just annoying.
I don't really have
Yeah,
it on, but
yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
really pay attention to it. Sometimes I have the companion app open and I see on my screen uh, because I don't have the message tab open, and it's saying plus 200 unseen messages, and I don't always pay attention to it when it's popping up. Anyways,
you have that turned off on your HUD.
no, I don't have it turned off. It shows up in game, but I just when I'm riding,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I usually don't pay much attention to it anyway.
I ignore most of it too, but at the same time, it's just like sometimes it's
Yeah,
like,
it can be a spam from time to time.
yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, it makes me really sad that kind of I've heard from female members of the herd that kind of like oh, it's nice riding with you. We did a ZRL team with a bunch of guys and a few women and they said kind of it was really nice riding with you guys because it just reminded us that there are nice people to ride with
Oh,
on Zwift, and it just makes me so sad to hear that kind of
Yeah,
people can be that obnoxious that it damages someone's experience of what's a game we're all doing for fun.
mm.
But I think kind of to that, I mean, we know the problems with the internet, don't we, and social media. So it does seem that the 5% most obnoxious people have about 95% of the volume, or sorry, 195% of the volume of everyone else, don't they? So
yeah,
yeah,
and it's yeah,
Not
and
just
it
you on
can
Zwift.
yeah, and it's essentially online anonymity because you can set your name in game, but you can set your name to basically anything. You can say to this one, for instance, one of the participants in the last Climbers Gambit was just his in user game was one gear. So yeah, so it can be you're basically an anonymous anyways. So yeah,
All
it's
right,
sad
do
to
we want
hear
to do
that.
some resolutions for 2025? Who's got a resolution for 2025? Should we start at the other side? We'll go with Craig first, since he got to go
Sure.
last on.
I've got I've really got two, and only some of it comes into Zwift. So one is to be more consistent, and you know, I definitely dropped off completely for a few months this year, but you know, there was kind of a sell a house, buy a house, and move in there, as well as getting the last of my BMX racing before I moved. But the other thing is actually, yeah, there's no BMX track near me now, so I'm going to be doing a lot less of that. So I'm going to try and branch out some of my real life racing and do a couple different things this year. So,
Crits.
no, probably some fat bike racing and maybe some XC.
I've raced a crit. Not, I didn't get any this past summer. The schedule sucked for that, but I did some the summer before. And actually, I loved it. It was super
Yeah,
fun. Like, I would totally recommend it.
I'm still scared of road bike group rides. So
Oh,
There.
all right. What do you got, Steph?
Well, we talked about it on in the pre-chat, but with a bit of things, hopefully in a bit of the time, I can enjoy my Zwift ride. It came just before for the new year, but there were some problems with it, but it should be fixed in the coming days. So hopefully can get the bad boy to experience Zwifting. And yeah, I think now we'll see how the plans is, but hopefully to do some try to do some more non climbers gambit vert races, trying those out a bit more, helping because basically my racing has been
Nice.
ladder racing and climbers gambits essentially. So doing a bit more other racing and that, and yeah, being more consistent. I think on and off the bike, the number of kilometers I've been increasing those over the last 2 years. So keeping that volume consistent, even with I've started a bit later with 4 hours to spare. I completed a Rafa 500, which would never have expected to do, including doing a 170-kilometer ride indoors, a 5-hour ride indoors. Complete doing that was a shocker to me as well, that I had that kind of level of dedication of doing it. But the advantage for that was 147 of those were with the Hurt Sunday endurance race, and having at the end 13 dedicated people of completing that route together. We started with, I think, over 113 of us finished the whole damn thing. So it was kind of nice having.
But no
It
root
really
badge
helped.
XP.
Yeah, it really helped having those people around you as motivation to keep paddling. So
Good,
yeah.
good. All right. How about Joe? What do you got?
I don't know if it's Zwift related, but I'm hoping to do a triathlon this summer. I think
That counts.
that's
That
the big
totally
goal.
counts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
there's a
I know
bike
you've told us
involved.
before, but which did you tell us that you guys already
I
signed up?
haven't signed up for anything, and I'm
Okay.
still sort of shopping, but the big one here is in August, and I talked to somebody and they said, "Well, how much do you like swimming in milfoil?" And yeah, maybe not.
What
And I
lake
know
is
the
that?
beach is like milfoil until like the top inch of water on top of it. I guess it's a little it's not the
What
greatest.
lake is that?
It's in Lake Washington, but it's on this little bay, uh,
Okay.
little inlet that you basically swim out like 200 meters over and then come back, and it's all basically really shallow milfoil junk.
I'm not sure what that means.
Milfoil, it's like a long stringy, it's like English ivy, but
Oh,
in the water.
okay.
It's an invasive that
I
they,
have swam in it. It's very unpleasant.
yeah, yeah. So I'm shopping around for more fun ones. We'll find something fun.
Are
Good.
you are you doing this one with your daughter?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that the
the hope.
plan? Yeah.
Yep.
Of the three, well, I know, we know you're comfortable on bike. Which thing are you least comfortable with of the three?
Oh, totally swimming. I've
Swimming.
been
That's always
trying.
the guess.
That's every triathlon.
Yeah.
That's
It's
every
every
triathlete.
unless they were a high school swimmer, right? And those are the people who are coming in are like,
I
oh,
would be
running.
much
Oh my
more
God.
comfortable that I could finish the swim than I could finish the run.
Were you a swimmer
Oh,
in high
really?
school?
I'm a good swimmer and I'm a terrible runner.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I feel okay running for my age group. I seem to do well in the local, not races. So I'm fine with the running part. But yeah, like I've been swimming in the pool and I'm horrible at it. I didn't know it was so technical.
Have you done any outdoor stuff yet? Like sighting and all
Not
that?
yet. That's the next phase,
Okay.
right? Then I got to get like
Yep.
a wetsuit because it is cold in Lake Washington in the winter.
Oh, and that
I
will
think
change
that
your
that
life
will
in
make
terms
the
of
swim
swimming.
easier though. Like your
It's a
Yeah.
Slower.
life jacket. It's a body-sized life jacket.
Yeah,
yeah,
it'll
Well,
be
the
it
whole
better
slower,
yeah, the
but
be.
whole
you won't
point.
sink.
Yeah, it better be because like if I swim in the pool without one of those pool boy buoy things, like no, I can do maybe 50 meters. Like, and then I'm like, oh God, I gotta rest.
Oh, with
Because
like
my
you're talking
legs
about
just,
even while you're kicking?
yeah, my legs just drag down. I just do not
Oh
have the
yeah.
form to stay up on top of
That's
the
like
water.
it's I remember doing swim training and the most depressing swim training is kickboard. So when you have the
Yeah,
float held in your arms like that, because you ain't supposedly only get about 10% of your thrust from your legs. And
yeah.
I remember to train to do that when I was a lifeguard 20 odd years ago now. And those were just depressing. Like it's single-handedly the worst interval repeat bit of exercise I've ever done. It's
Even though
just
you can breathe all as much
yeah,
as
you
you
can
want,
breathe the
like
whole time. It's just fucking hard,
it's
basically.
so hard. Oh,
Oh my God. You have no like I used to do master swimming to train for swimming for triathlon and I'd be in I don't know, we had like 4 lanes and I would be in like the second group. Like the first group was like the serious
this.
hardcore, like they were
Oh,
race swimmers. And then the second one was like a bit of those and a bunch of triathletes. And then third was like kind of like older folks. And then fourth was like newbies or whatever. And I was in the second group and I'd be like keeping up fine. We do kick only. It's like, all right, we're gonna do like 200 meters kick only. Brent, if you get through 50, we'll consider that a good day for you. It's like they just lap me. Like just these like 40,
yeah.
50-year-old ladies who are like swimmers would just like up and down the pool. And I'm like, kick, kick, kick. What is wrong with my feet? Like, what am I doing? They're like,
The
man,
first
just
time I tried
stick
that,
with
I
it.
got half a lap in, and my coach is like, "Okay, we're giving up on that because you're not even going forward anymore." Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember.
So a
And
friend
then
of mine, actually the same girl who got me into running originally, is a triathlete now, and Yeah, she started running, learned the bike, learned how to swim specifically to do triathlon, and is now to the point where she's won open water swims that she's
Oh,
done
wow.
Oh,
events.
wow.
Right.
So yeah, if you really like it, you can get there. But
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not doing much swimming, but yeah, I never mastered. I think the leg stroke, even when I'm doing crawl, I think 99 to 100% of my thing is just my arm movement because
Oh, yeah.
I don't move my legs when I'm swimming. Uh, I don't
Well,
have
I
that
don't, yeah, I'll
that
be curious what your
kick in
coach
me,
says or
but
your
yeah,
training says, John, but basically in triathlon swimming, essentially you kick to keep your legs up, and that's about
Right now,
all
I
you
think that's
really want to
all you're
do.
really trying to do, right?
Well,
Because you
just
want
you
to
got,
save your legs,
yeah,
right?
exactly. You've got
Yeah,
however many more hours of using your legs for other things. So
yeah.
maybe at
Just
yeah,
like
all arms.
Olympic level, maybe they do a little more kick for speed, but I'm pretty sure at those like Ironman and stuff, it's like you just kick to keep levels so you can like
So
stay
you
with
can
the
be
group.
streamlined and yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
That's the trick, I think.
Yep. All right, I'll go and then we'll go Steve and then Sean. I'm gonna say I think I need to adapt to being a 46-year-old in my diet. Like I think I've sort of what's the psychological term when you have like the permission factor or the evening factor where it's like, oh yeah, I biked like an hour hard today. I can eat like 6
This is
hamburgers.
like other people's chips don't have calories in them. Yeah, that's the.
Yeah. There's a spirit word though where you're like it's like oh I did two good things today. Now I can like steal from someone. Like there's a behavioral like
Yeah.
psychology type of expression for that. I think it's forgiveness or something like that, where like, oh, I
I didn't
exercised
realize we were
today.
back into science, Pinktron. I'd have prepped for this otherwise, Brad.
You
It's
can,
Don't
it's a
make me prove
permit
that Pinktron is the fastest one again.
yeah, exactly. There you go.
it's a
Maybe
permission of some kind, like virtue
permission.
permission. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I think I've been heavily on that I go finish my ride and have a shower and then I have a treat. Need to get back to, and I think like it didn't used to affect me so much, but I really noticed in the last 6 months that like not eating properly, I cannot shake the weight off anymore. So got to get back to it. Got to get back down to my A racing weight, if for no other reason than for health and all that good stuff. That's mine. What about you,
So
Steve?
is
Sean?
part of that doing another month or several on the wagon?
I don't know if I'll go totally dry. Just I don't know that it was that big a deal, but I think I will drink less. No like casual glasses of wine on Tuesday night because it's Tuesday. You know, just less and less longer maybe too. It was really like the back half of this year was like, oh my God, what's happening to me? So, all right, Sean, how are you?
I got a few things. One, I'm like, I don't know, 1.5 levels from 100.
Ooh.
Yeah, you are.
all right.
And I'm really looking forward to being able to like confetti sock ride-on bomb people.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm just going to be spamming the ride-ons. Um, I do. This is the fact that I'm almost there makes it almost a guarantee that they're about to raise the levels again.
I was
Because
thinking that too. I mean, I'm only at like 87, but
Please
I was like,
don't.
I'm totally going to get to 97 this year, and they're going to be like, oh, now we go to level 200.
yeah, every time I've gotten about to like they've raised it, I think 2 times, and both times were when I was about to get to the level that they were up to. So I'm excited for the raise to 200 levels.
Yep.
Um, I'm excited to fully pimp out all of my bikes in the upgraded like garage update with the, different levels of how much you can put into each bike. And like, yeah, I'm excited to have my special fancy bikes that I ride all the time. And then things that are, non-Zwift. Well, so I did my Imperial Rafa whatever in 7 days, which meant, lots of 100+ K days, uh, which it didn't take as much out of me as I expected this year. I was actually feeling pretty good by the end of it. Um, and I think that maybe I'm at the point where this is not me saying that I'm going to turn into an ultra rider, but I do think that some stupid challenges that are based around riding a lot are maybe in my future this year. So maybe doing a 200K or maybe even 200-mile ride. Maybe doing a half or full Everest. Uh,
Hmm.
we'll see. Maybe I'll convince Brent to do a to do a half Everest with me. Uh,
I'd go again. I should be able
Yeah.
to do it. I actually, yeah,
um,
I'll
Yeah.
say to your point about like completing it, not feeling bad. Like I did, like I completed my Rafa during that elite Tempest Fugit race, and that like
Hmm.
it didn't feel like my legs were sore and I was tired. Like they felt bad halfway through that race, but you know, I didn't feel like beat up like I've had before doing some of that long stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Uh,
definitely getting used to it because I mentioned on a 50, 70 kilometer ride, but I think that's has been so consistent over the past few years, getting that volume up, doing before I did, well, three back-to-back metric centuries within including one imperial. Before that, I done like 26 other rides above metric century. So having that consistency gets you there, get prepares you for doing that sort of volume. Definitely.
yeah. I think the other two things are really kind of mirroring what some others have said. I do think that I need to figure out my diet a little bit better. Um, Maybe not so many cookies throughout a regular day. It You may have noticed that the beginning of my when I first logged on, I was eating a cookie. So a cookie and a beer on Fridays with you guys, definitely okay. Maybe not every day. Uh, because like I am probably up, what is it, like 30 pounds in the last 7 years since I really got into cycling. And a lot of that is leg muscle, but not all of it is. And I am, this is one of these years I am going to do one of the crits. And I think that the thing that has stopped me often is that I get into the season and I get sick and my fitness kind of crashes and I'm like, I don't want to ride the thing if I'm gonna just get immediately spat. But yeah, I think this might be the year that I try signing up for some things. I'm feeling good. Yeah, we'll see.
Nice.
Good luck.
all right, Steve, you're
Don't
last
crash.
with a new baby.
So yeah, I mean similar thoughts to other people. Like I had to defer doing the Dartmoor Classic last year, which is 107 miles and 9,000 feet of climbing. So I've got that in the summer, which I will need to be vaguely prepared for. I think Jack has managed to put on 10% to his weight in the last month, which is really good for a baby. I think I've managed to put 10% on my weight in the last month, which is less good for an adult human. So I think kind of that just getting into a routine with that, and I'm optimistic with Zwift, that like, especially with the kind of the racing changes that they're trying to make as well, that actually kind of in a schedule around working and having a kid, that there's a fairly good race on a Tuesday night at 9 p.m. UK time that you can jump in and you can do a good solid hour workout and kind of build it around your life like that. So yeah, fairly optimistic for those changes as well. And like you guys, I think I've kind of long been an advocate of this and not practiced what I preach very well, but it is that old adage, if you can't exercise your way out of a bad diet. Um, like my wife and I lost quite a bit of weight a few years ago just
Watch
following
me
kind of
try.
following a fairly strict diet. And I mean, I wouldn't say it was no fun, but kind of actually we were both surprised by how doing a bit less, actually doing less exercise, because we were both fairly active hockey players, and I stopped playing hockey at that point, and Harry got injured, that we still lost quite a lot of weight because you made better choices eating. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun year and see what happens. I'm quite looking forward to the first time I need to buy myself one of those little things you tow behind the bike and you can take your kid out into. That's going to be an absolute blast when you do that for the first time, and little things like that. And just to bring it together in a really saccharine, sweet, sugar-filled bow at the end, I think actually it's just riding more with friends, if that makes sense. So be that on Zwift and chatting to you folks on Discord, like we talked about that before, how that's always quite motivating. Or talking about that Dartmoor Classic, like I'm going to probably do that with my friend Dan, and however long it takes it, we're going to be cycling with each other, which is just so much better. The last time I did Dartmoor, I did the 60-mile route, and I did most of that on my own, and it's probably single-handedly the most depressing day on the bike I've ever spent. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that Dartmoor's really pretty and I wanted to finish, like I just wasn't enjoying it because it's super tough and you just don't speak to anyone, which is dull. There's a long time to spend sat on your ass, kind of, and we're fundamentally social beings, aren't we? So yeah, more time hopefully riding with friends, be that not virtual friends, but virtually, or in meet space. I think would be the key thing as well. Sean, I think you've got a one final thing.
Yeah, the one that I forgot was and I've mentioned it on here, but I do think it would be fun to, so there have been herd organized events to get together for Grand Fondos or things like that, and I would like to organize getting people together for one around here. There's one in kind of wine country in California, Levi's Grand Fondo, that I think would be a really great event to try and get Pinktron riders, herd riders in general, and yeah, just get a group together and go ride.
It is definitely one of the places where we can be more sure about the weather.
Yeah, and it's at a good time of year, and for the Pinktron, you end the ride and you can go drink wine. Yeah.
Seems
Do you
appropriate.
finish at an Aldi though? That's the key thing.
Right.
We have
It's Trader Joe's. It's the Aldi's brother guy. So yeah.
For the rest of us, for the herd riders, that's where we'd finish. Right through the finish line, right into the parking lot. Pick up the Malbec from Aldi. Good stuff. All right. I think on that note, we will say thank you to Steph Chen. Thank you to Sean Fogelberg. Thank you to Steve Pritchard and Jack. Thank you to John Keenan. Thank you to Craig. Thank you to everyone listening at home. Enjoy your races, everybody. Moo and good night.
Ciao, ciao.